Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and today we're playing Particula. This is one of the games that I've gotten for free since starting my YouTube channel. Not that a video game company has given me it because I'm a reviewer, but simply because it was either free on Steam or Humble Bundle, or somebody tweeted out a code or something like that. And because of that, I didn't really pick this game and I didn't really invest in that. So this November for Thanksgiving, I figured why not go through all of these games and give them a 30-minute try and see how they are. Now, so far a lot of the games I've played are very low quality and very old. This one doesn't seem to be old, and it so far doesn't look that low quality. It has single player, multiplayer. The video settings have ultra, whatever that means. I wish these things were slightly better detailed, because what's ultra now may be low quality 10 years from now. Let's play single player and see what it is. Now, as I understand this, it is a 3-player tower defense game. Simplistic project. It seems like there's a forced frames per second icon down here in the right. Custom cursor. Let's just see how this works. So I have the mouse, but it's also saying WASD, and so let me pull out my keyboard just in case I actually need the WASD key. WASD, and we do have, how much energy do we have? We don't have enough to afford anything right now. Alright, so this is a graphically interesting looking game. You can right click, you can zoom out, you can zoom in with the mouse. Middle mouse button doesn't seem to do anything. Alt doesn't seem to do anything. Enter doesn't seem to do anything, so who knows what those mean. Let's start the game. So, to start off with, one would have to assume that we start with 1,000, so we'll make the tower here. And being a tower defense, there's no, like, direct intervention. So, and since you can't really buy anything right now, and to upgrade skill, delete. Upgrade speed for 250. Upgrade for 250. Damage, 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 and then damage, and speed. Until we have no more money. And if we come over here and click on this one and delete, you would receive 350 back. So here's the problem with this game. It looks great, it's a good concept, there's nothing here to really hate other than the fact that it is a stupid tower defense game. And so far in my life at this point, I've seen enough of these to not be interested in playing any more of these. I guess we don't need this anymore. Like, this is boring. Alt seems to do nothing. Enter seems to do nothing. Like, enter, alt. Upgrade speed. Speed. Apparently I can't upgrade his speed anymore. Can't upgrade damage then. Until you can't upgrade damage anymore. The music's nice and calming. The skybox is cool. This is probably all pre-made assets though. Like, anytime you see such a simplistic gameplay idea, this screams to me that somebody bought a 3D head and gave it each one of these dots, I imagine, is a life. And somebody bought a 3D sphere and some particle dots. Can't increase speed anymore. And at this level, you really need a speed up. So it's like plus, minus, left, right, like all left, right, up and down just kind of does what you would normally expect. Control, and there's some freaky effects in the background that's kind of hard to keep an eye on. Upgrade. And they're just going further and further. You really need something interesting to convince somebody to play a tower defense game. And honestly, I don't see that here. This just feels like every single other tower defense game. It doesn't have that interesting, cartoony style that would probably get younger players who haven't played a tower defense game before in their life. So there's no appeal that I see for new players. And see, I'm just powering up these guys as much as possible. This is more of an intellectual, I don't know who you would even, like, experienced gamer appealing, like the way it looks. Like, this looks like somebody who would be into puzzles, somebody who would be very experienced at playing puzzle games, and then you give them the exact, just like, obvious things. I don't understand why I can still upgrade the damage on this guy. He really is probably, these two here are probably the best to do. And you can see these enemies have different titles above them: aggressiveness, lie, negative. So there's something about that they have different abilities. But in all seriousness, it's taken 10 minutes to get through 13 waves. This is ridiculous. Sadness, rejection. Yeah, some of these just, I think, might be names. Selfishness. Like, they may not actually be abilities, they may just be descriptors. So you're, like, defeating negative emotions from getting to the head. I see the theme. Yeah, you're trying to keep the bad thoughts out, which frankly doesn't work. and isn't mentally healthy, you should experience bad, painful thoughts and develop the ability to deal with them, not try to avoid them. You can't censor your own brain at all. It doesn't work that way. You'll drive yourself crazy trying. You just have to kind of accept negativity as a natural part of life and learn how to deal with it. Let's see, I don't know how much upgrading. Let's see. How much damage does this do? 315. How much damage does this do? 95. And how much damage does this do? 15. And how much does this do? And there's a maximum amount of speed. And at wave 15, we take some damage. And we lose some of our health. There's literally nothing here. There's no reason why you'd want to play this game. Or at least for me. I literally don't like it because it's a tower defense game. I don't like it because it's slow. And I don't like it because it's sending what it thinks is a good message, but is actually an incredibly unhealthy message to send. This is suppression and letting things bottle up and eventually explode. It's the old Seinfeld episode, Serenity Now, is what they're suggesting here. And it doesn't work that way. You need exposure therapy to deal with these things in safe, comfortable environments, as safe and comfortable as they can be, but you gotta deal with this stuff. It's gonna happen. You can't just block it out of your life. It'd be nice if you could, it's just that's not reality. This is the kind of thinking that will lead you into living a deluded lifestyle and not being able to deal with the problems when they do arise. And here we're about to lose. And never have I been. Negativity emerged. Ironically, this is kind of how a lot of you disconnected from the server. Seriously? I wasn't even connected to a server. Ironically, this is exactly what some video game creators seem to think. Parallel universe, God's mind, blue lights are 3 scenarios at difficulty 1. Are there any more scenarios at difficulty 2? No. Wow, there's only 3 scenarios in this entire game. This is garbage. Total garbage. You get a achievement for defeating all 5 of the difficulties. Like, yeah, but there are video game developers, I suppose, to not be rude, I'll just call them developers that feel that way, that there should be no negativity at all, that no criticism is good. Let's do arcane this time, and then do flaming next time. it seems like there might be 3 different styles of like the first one seemed to have been ice, and this one seems to be toxic. So let's see what this is. I guess that also tells you that then there's only 3 of every kind, 3 levels of enemies. So this probably has splash damage. I really don't like how this just kind of locks into this. Fire seems to have more of a explosive ability. And let's see. If I go to skill, we slow and poison a single target. Apparently that's just his skill. Is to slow poison a single target. And then this one is burn single target over 3 over time. And this is slow down a single target. So ideally you'd always want to chrysanthemum them at the beginning just to slow them down, and then something that would probably burn them or poison them to begin with. Let's see. Save up our money and we'll build a Mysterio now. And see. It just has Toxic Blast times 2, 10% damage times 4. So the toxicity kind of doesn't kill people, it seems. It seems to just weaken. Yeah, I don't want to get into a rant, certainly, but there have been a lot of instances of video game critics being silenced or attempted to be silenced by video game creators. And I'm using the term video game critic here in the broadest of terms to include anybody who has ever had any reason to criticize the game at all. This is weird because it seems like they would just turn right here, but maybe they can't turn. Maybe they have to go all the way to the edge. Steam tries to walk the middle. Most recently there's been a lot of video game creators who've done something to irritate people, and then people decide to go rate the game negatively because they're not happy with the creator or they're not happy with the change made in the game, and then they call that review bombing, when that could also just be described as somebody doing something controversial and having to live with the consequences of their controversial decision. And instead of admitting that there's a reason, usually, I have yet to hear a story of somebody just review bombing a game for no reason whatsoever, just randomly picking a game. Instead of addressing the issues and the reason why they're getting review bombed, game creators now just are trying to make an argument to Valve that they should just allow them to delete negative reviews, which was certainly what they would love to do in the first place, is just have no negative reviews at all. That way they can trick people into buying games that might have some problems with it. Honestly, I would say no negative review is an invalid negative review. It adds information, and at the end of the day, adding information is the best you can get. So Valve has decided instead to have graphs so people can see that there's a lot of negative reviews came in at this point, then you can go look at the reviews and see what people say. Most reviews on Steam are useless anyways because people don't just put in like a single sentence or a single word. That's not very helpful when you're not being descriptive enough. So, but when people eventually look through the reviews, if they are going to be informed purchasers before they buy a game, getting more information is always more helpful. And it's totally possible that people might not care for the reason that a game was bombed, review bombed, and thus they'll buy the game anyways. In fact, the odds are very high. But it is also possible that on top of being review bombed downward, a lot of games have probably been review bombed upward through either interactions or schemes taken place by the creators of the game, or just by random entities deciding to give games thumbs up. Both of which are true. So let's make a level 3 Ignis here. And the icons look a little different, yeah. Like, certainly games that you get for free are a way of trying to convince people to give it a good review often. It's a lot more money to upgrade these, isn't it? Wow. Look at that. Nice effect. Even though this game is pretty much garbage and not worth playing because it's too short, it's too small, and it's just a bunch of fancy pre-made graphics. It does look nice. I have to admit, it does look nice. One of the things that a lot of people do to cheat the Valve review system is they convince people to like games because they give away trading cards, which is a terrible system that Valve has started to fix. So no longer can you make a game that doesn't really sell anything and give away 10,000 keys to a game that hasn't made 100 sales, and then give away trading cards that can be traded or used in some other way to get in-game products or Steam wallet money. For a while there, trading cards was, at the very least, seemed like a scheme that was being used to launder money or, I don't know, somehow profit off making very bad games. The new Steam Direct system has strived to fix that, and I think it probably has a little bit because I'm seeing less of that be an issue. That being said, Steam is still having major problems of games being released with the Steam Direct system because we are approaching 5,000 games being released in 1 month, which is far too many. It's completely unrealistic. However, even though that number is big, I personally haven't seen 5,000 new games on Steam, so people are paying the $100 entry fee to list the game, and yet it's not getting immediately put in front of the eyes of people who don't want to play bad games, which probably means that there's some hidden gems out there that have come out this month that I haven't seen also. You can tell this game is incredibly boring, because if I'm talking about something else, it's certainly incredibly boring. And why did the audio immediately go back up to the top? And I'd like to exit and see the third path, but I'd also like to see how this path works. This seems insane. You know what? Let's do this. Let's click here and delete this and get 75. Delete this unit. And then delete this unit. Both of those buttons do the same thing. And then delete this unit. And they get to the end. And then what? They bounce back. And then they turn. So it's like a street path. They go on the right, they turn around, and they hit again. No reason for this to say delete unit, delete this unit. Like that. Clearly there's some basic English skills missing here. And again, with games like this, I just have to wonder, are there schools out there where you take a programming class and at the end of the class you have to make a game and publish it on Steam? Is that what this is? Or perhaps there's colleges out there, or even high schools, that lie to students so much that they think this level of quality of game should be on sale and will make them money. Negativity emerged. And you can kind of see that me criticizing this game probably is going to irritate the creators of this game, because clearly they don't want negativity in their life. Let's see. So I'm just gonna let this go without even doing anything, just so we can see how this path works. I have the difficulty on 5. Increasing the difficulty doesn't add any number of waves. See, they're just stretching on this blue ball. And apparently you can, if they don't get hit, they don't disconnect from the blue ball? Not until quite a while, at least. What is this supposed to represent? Is this the outside world? And this is the mind? If this is a student project, interesting, they're moving diagonally there. Even at this rate, it's an unfinished project. You need at least 100 different paths for a tower defense game like this. 100 different paths. I would say at least 25 different types of towers. So maybe you could get 9 or 8, somewhere between 8 and 9 different types of towers, and have 3 different varieties of those types of towers, like so level 1, 2, and 3. That might be enough. You need distinctly different enemies, not just bigger versions of the same enemies. You need probably 100 different layouts, which it's not difficult to think of layouts to build a system and just have that work. I imagine you could go to Unity, maybe even Unreal. Unreal's more about running, gunning, and shooting, but I imagine in Unity you could get an engine by default that's for tower defense and and just spend a few months making different paths. And none of that's been done here. And I'm gonna have to make a completely spurious guesstimate here. But I bet the multiplayer doesn't work that well either. Like, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Maybe the multiplayer is only co-op multiplayer. But then that wouldn't make any sense with the servers. So, if somebody was just trying to teach themselves how to make net software, like networking software for multiplayer games, why make a tower defense game? Like, that doesn't even teach you anything. And there the game just locked up as it's showing all these particles. And well, this is a lot of particles, it's not that many. Like, if you're gonna make a multiplayer game, you should be making a fighting game or a multiplayer shooter, run and gun thing. You don't need a tower defense multiplayer game. That's insane. Or maybe you make a turn-based multiplayer game if it's your first outing. Something like Scrabble or something. Words with Friends. Well, I can only really judge this game for what it is and not for what it may have been intended as. And what it is an incredibly small game that wasn't even worth 30 minutes of my time. So, another game I got for free, another game I can put away and never play again. That's it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.